This conference will now be recorded. This conference will now be recorded.
In the last class, right, we have discussed about launching a Linux VM in Azure. So today, what we will do, right, we will try to create a Windows instance, and as well as we will see the high availability options that are available in the Azure. So first, here, right, we are having one, like let us assume you are trying to do some deployment. Okay, you are doing some deployment. Okay, you have something like in one region, you are having one availability zone. Like that, you are having availability zone 2 as well as the availability zone 3, and in all the three availability zones we are having a same application. Okay, this application name is something like HR portal. The same instance is being present in three availability zones. So why we have kept, like why we have designed the infrastructure like that means, by any chance if there is a failure in this availability zone 1, okay, let us assume like this is the availability zone, and if there is a failure, okay, for customer, he can be like he will be able to access the application which is present in either in availability zone 2 or availability zone 3, or in other case, right, we are doing some deployment. Okay, so you are upgrading the patch or you are upgrading a build. So you can't straight away, like if you say, if you take any amazon.com or like flipkart.com, right, 365 days it will be having traffic. At any point of time, either at 12 o'clock or 2 a.m. or 4 a.m., someone will be doing some shopping in it, right? They will be trying to purchase in that complex applications, no? So the amazon or like flipkart, they don't expect any downtime. So they don't want any downtime, and they want the application to be running all the time. In such cases, right, what they will do, right, if they are doing the patch or if they're doing some upgrade here, no, they will isolate this region, whatever we are seeing, right, AZ1, they will isolate that one. They will do the patching or build upgrade. During that time, right, you will be served with this or this node. Okay, the nodes which are present here. Once this upgrade is done, this one will be attached to the load balancer, and they will be doing the patching in other zones. This is like availability is concept is something like at any point of time with 365 like 24 by 7 round the year, your application should be accessible and there should not be any downtime. Even if one cluster or one zone goes down also, you should be able to access your application. Even there is a power failure in two grids also, means like two availability zones, if there is a power failure also, with third availability zone, you should be able to access the application. Now if customer is able to spend money, he will be deploying his application in availability zone 1, availability zone 2, okay, 2 or more. But in some conditions, no, what will happen, right? One customer is there and his presence is only in India. Okay, he is having this HR portal only in India. Like it is not something like a Monster or Naukri where it is present in multiple countries. Okay, so his presence is only in India. So what he has done, no, he will be having something like this. Here, what you will be having one region and you will be having only one availability zone. Okay, he will be having other cases. He is having presence only in India. So he has in Indian region he has kept deployed his application only in one availability zone. Okay, but what happened, right? Here there is something like a availability sets. There is a concept called as availability sets. So availability sets is something like in that particular data center in that particular region, no, what you will have, right? You will be having something like different racks. You will be having some servers like this. Okay, individual servers. These are called as the fault domains. These are called as FD, fault domain. So FD is nothing but a fault domain. So these are independent servers. Okay, with a different power connectivity, means like power supply will be different for this one. Both will be having power supply. In that you will be having like update domain. Update domain is something like a rack. In your data center you will be having something like this. Okay, you will be having something like this. This is server 1, rack 2, rack 3, rack 4. You will be having one big rack. In that, like this, you will be having servers. Okay, you will be having something like this. The servers will be present like this. So what they will do, right? In single availability zone, what they will do, no, here Azure has a provision to spin across. Actually, I messed up. Okay, okay, sorry, I messed up. So you should not. Okay, okay, fine. So here, no, this is the fault domain, and these blocks are there, right? These are the physical servers, individual servers which has some computing resources. These are called as the update domains. Okay, these are called as the update domains. Fault domain is something like a individual physical rack, or a in data center it will be like this. One second, I'll show the track. See, you are having something like this, no? These are the individual racks. These are the whatever you are seeing vertically, right? These are the physical fault domains. In that you are having some horizontal lines, no? Those are the servers actually. So they will be putting your server something like this in data center. If you see this one, it will be giving clear. Yeah. So fault domain is something like this one. This is one fault domain. This is one fault domain. This is one fault domain. And update domain is something like here we are seeing one machine, no, like these are the physical servers which are kept in the rack, something like this is how the arrangement will be. So this is the fault domain and this is the availability domain, update domain. Okay, okay, just a second. What Azure will provision, no, now I have deployed my HR portal in availability zone 1 in the same data center. I kept something like one application in this one and one application in this one. Likewise, how if we have multiple availability zones or multiple, if the application is deployed in multiple regions, same logic is here also. If I want to upgrade this application, upgrade this app, I'll be doing the patching work and all those in this one. This will go to maintenance mode. During that time it will serve. Okay, and when this go to maintenance mode, or when this is being upgraded, no, this will go to maintenance mode, something like vice versa. At any point of time, one should be able to pick your load. Okay, and there is one more case. What I have done in one availability zone, in one region, I have kept my application only in one availability zone. In that, I am having only one rack. In one rack, I have kept my application. Due to some problem, right? The rack got, due to the failure in the hardware, the rack got corrupted, or it got burnt. Okay, then what will happen? I don't have access to the application. My application is lost. So what they will do, right? They will be having another provision to accommodate that application in the different rack. Okay, by these two means we can get this high availability. Okay, so hope you understood, no? In one availability set, what you will have here, you will be having individual servers. In that, you will be having disk or whatever the computer resources. Here, right, what we will have, no, you will put the application here, here. Okay, so that if one if there is a failure in one fault domain, the other two fault domains will be able to serve your load. It is something like this, FDUD. Okay, so this is what, if in one region, if one node, if one zone gets like failure, or if it got there is a power failure or something, no, your application will be accessible from other two region availability zones. This is how it would be. Okay, we'll see and deploy. So if I want to create a Linux machine, then I have to go to virtual machine service. In that virtual machine service, I have to click on the add. Okay, I'm clicking on add. Here, this is my subscription. I told on any resource, whatever you create now, it will be tagged to subscription and one resource. I'm using the existing resource group, which is demo. I'm giving some Windows machine. Okay, I'm giving some name as Windows machine. I'm changing the region. I'm not changing. Okay, if you see the availability options, no, this is what we have discussed till now. There are something like availability options. By default, no infrastructure redundancy required will be there. Means redundancy won't be there. Means if the application goes down also, if the application goes down, right, there is no backup support. Okay, so if you want to avail this availability option, right, it can be done via two means. One is using the availability zone. Second one is using the availability set. So you can select either of one. You can't select both. Either you can go with availability zone, means you deploy your application in multiple availability zones. That is first option. Else you have to select your application in the availability set. If you want to, if I select availability set, no, here I have to select which availability set I need to create. Currently, right, there are two options. One option, one provision is I can create my availability set from here. I can click on create new, and I can create my this availability set, or in my resource only, here only I have to search for availability sets. Okay, I have to click on this availability sets, and I have to create the availability set, and this will be populated there. So I will create one availability set. This is demo. I have selected the subscription as free trial, and the resource group is demo. Here I am giving something like availability set 1. Which region? So fault domains and update domains. Fault domains is something like I told, no, number of racks. Fault domain is something like this one. Basically, right, you will be having something like up to, you can derive your, you can define your solution with redundancy of 3, means your application can be deployed here, here, here. In 3 fault domains you can deploy your application. So but I'm choosing 2. Okay. And update domains are, these are the individual rack servers. This is the server 1, server 2. This has computing devices like hard disk, processor, and this is something like a server itself. Whatever you are seeing individually line, right, each line is one server. Okay. So they will be putting in this like this in data center. So here you can put up to 20 update domains, means if I put to 20, no, here I'm configuring 2 and 20. What will happen, right, if I'm selecting this and this, here 10, here 10. So my application will be deployed in 10 10 10 10 servers, totally 20. Okay. But I will be keeping to a lower value. Okay. 2 2, that should be fine. Okay. Click on next. This is not mandatory. Proxy placement group. These are the tags. These are not mandatory. Just review and create. Okay. Validation passed means whatever the value data which I entered is proper, then create. So the name is availability set 1. Okay. Meanwhile, let it get created. I will go to this virtual machines and I will create a virtual machine. I'm selecting this demo, Windows machine. Okay. Now I have selected this virtual availability set. Whatever I have created priorly, right, availability set 1, that got populated here. Okay. Now I will be selecting some Windows server. Okay. I will be selecting something like uh, okay, Windows server 10. Okay. Spot instance and all those, these are all small theory stuff. Okay. Now I will be giving some username and password. So here I am giving the administrator username and password for the Windows instance which I am going to create. Okay. So as I mentioned, I told, there will be something like inbound ports. Okay. So I am allowing RDP, means this basically, right, it is allowing HTTP, HTTPS and RDP. So I am allowing only RDP, means I will be able to using this RDP, right, I can do MSTSC. I can log into that machine remotely. If I select an unknown, I can't log into that machine, whatever I have created. So I'm selecting the RDP port. Okay, now everything is fine in this page. Mhm. So this is something like OS disk type. I'm selecting something like a standard HHD. That should be fine for me. Encryption. Okay. Okay, I will discuss. That is all theory basically. I'll come to that later. This is the virtual network which is in which the instance will be created, and this is the subnet, means this is the internal IP. Okay, next is the public IP. So if I have none and a new, so if I select a new public IP will be assigned. Okay, now inboard ports allowed. Okay, now load balancing. Okay, I don't want to put this load balancing now, even though I have availability sets. Okay, now monitoring identity, I'm leaving everything blank. Okay, I'm not selecting anything, just to go to next, next, next. Now it will do the validation. Now the validation is passed. Now I have to click on create. Now the deployment is in progress. It will take 1 or 2 minutes to create the instance. Any doubts? Meanwhile, you can ask doubts.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah, tell me, I'm able to hear you.
Yeah. So here we just created one of the RDP with 8 GB RAM and configurations. That's what,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes, yes. But you have
Okay.
to
Okay. Okay.
see the availability sets.
You said like one will be busy
Ah,
and some other servers will
so
going to
basically,
be
like
act or those
whatever.
things.
Yeah, complete, complete. Please go on. Sorry.
No. That's it. That's what like whichever in starting in the graphically how you showed. So the same like replica now one we have created. So here, so how that scenario will come to like this server is occupied, so then server 2 or 3 it will go to be instance going to be created, like it's auto choosing of instances or
Yes, yes, yes. So, like,
Vikram?
why you will
Yeah.
use when we have load balancer in place? Now, I haven't created the load balancer, but if you have this load balancer in place, now in backend it will create. Okay, so maybe I will show tomorrow. But one more thing is right, I want to show this Windows also. Uh, Windows stuff also. Okay, we'll see. Like, actually, I accidentally haven't clicked that load balancer. So every what this availability sets, no, it will fall behind the load balancer. So actually, load balancer will send the traffic to those machines. Okay, I will show it. Give me a minute. If time permits, no, I will show that one as well. Okay, so now deployment is complete. Okay, now here, right, I'm having one option to connect. Here I am having something like RDP. So I am, when I click on this RDP profile file, no, automatically that file will be downloaded. I can log in into my instance. Okay,
This logins, Vikram, this logins we are getting from
I'm logging to the cloud
test your
machine, whatever I
connection.
have created Windows. This is the cloud instance which I have created just now.
Yes.
Did we define any credentials here, or these are the cloud credentials?
I have manually entered my credentials, no? Username and
I mean,
password I have created.
yes, you have
Well,
entered that,
yeah,
but did we created that previously?
yeah.
Okay.
In the UI itself, we have done. With that credentials only, I'm able to log in. One thing, if you notice here, no? Okay, let me go to this PC. Whenever you create an instance, okay, by default, you are provided with some 126 GB, whatever I have created, okay, I have selected. Along with that, some temporary storage is being allocated to you, okay. So basically, you should not store any like files which are important in this directory, okay. Whenever the VM reboots, no, the data won't be present. If I create a file, I'll create a file called like test, okay, test file, okay, which is having some, I will write something like a save, okay, same file I'm copy pasting and keeping in here also, okay. In C and D drive, I'm having the file. One second. So I came back to this machine, okay, availability, yeah, I'm selecting on this machine, okay, I'm clicking on stop. Now machine will go to this stop mode, okay, and what will happen, right, this public IP also will be released. If you're not using this machine for longer time, no, this public IP will be released, and whenever you create whenever you start the instance, no, what will happen, right, a new public IP will be sent to you. So this public IPs are dynamic in the cloud, okay. So this will be allocated dynamically whenever you create
Until
an
that
instance.
service got terminated.
No, stopped. If it is up and running, there won't be any change. If you stop the service and if you
Okay.
start it again,
IP address will change.
IP address will
IP
change.
address will change.
Yes.
Can we set as a static, or can we lease that IPs?
No, we have to like if the thing is like this if you see here, no, this public IP is gone. So basically, right, you will be charged for any you will be charged for this public IP. So if you want to use a static IP, you have to buy and then you have to use it, okay. Even in on-premise also, your companies will buy some static IPs for some servers, okay. Here also you can allocate, you can reserve one static IP for you and you can use it, okay. For now, you just remember, like whenever you stop an instance, right, that public IP will use the public IP, and whenever you start an instance, a new public IP will be assigned. That's why what they will do, right, when once you will be having multiple machines in your virtual network, no, so everything will be communicating via internal IP, private IP. Okay, so started.
There is some standard practice for means region selection.
Region
Means when
selection is up to you. You can select anything.
okay, uh, by means latency, facing some issue with the latency if I select US region. I mean
Then
working
you
with
can use India also, not an issue.
means there. Okay, means it's depends, no? I mean,
And you can choose that. So that latency issue, if you do want to avoid the latency issue, right, you can select the India machine. Should be fine. Okay, now previously I got 13 series, now I'm getting 52 series. Now I'm able to log into that machine. See, in your C drive, your test file will is there, but when you go to your temporary storage, no, that data is not there. The file got deleted. So be cautious, like you will be getting some like a temporary storage for every Azure account, whatever you get, what any desktop, whatever you create, but make sure like you can use it, but make sure like the data, whatever the important data, right, don't put it over here. Some junk files or something you can put it over here, but whenever you restart a VM, the data will be lost. You can store it in the C. Okay, this file is there. And now what I will be doing now, if I give something like localhost, now what we will do, right, we will launch one website here. Okay, so we'll host one website in this Windows machine. If I give some, I will be getting error. So in Windows now you will be having one service called as ISS. Okay, so it will be somewhere, yeah, add roles and features. I have to select on this one only, basically like the server manager only. If I want to install that ISS, right, IIS I think, yeah, I have to click on this one and I have select the role based feature based installation. This is the private IP, this is the machine name, this is the private IP, and this is the operating system of this particular machine. Okay, here IIS. Okay, when I selected this one now, it is asking me like these components will be installed. I am adding these features basically. Okay, now I have selected this one and clicked on next. Okay, here I can select I think it will work. Let me see. Clicking on next. Okay, next and install. Okay, now what will happen, right? IIS server will be installed and I should be able to launch the some website default page. I'll do this refresh. It should get it is installing.
This DP internet speed and all depends on Azure only, right? From
Your bandwidth also. Internally, yeah. You are talking about the internal VM or your connectivity.
yeah. No, see, once we have connected to RDP, so inside RDP, which are the applications or which are the browsing is going on. So that's all based on the Azure only, right? Azure
Correct.
data centers only. The
Correct.
speed will be okay. Okay.
Yes.
So now we are installing this, whichever Vikram, like HTTP, okay, IIS, okay, that is for Internet
See,
Information Services.
once, yeah,
Okay.
this is the like Apache, right? Like Apache we have, right? This Apache web server, right? Microsoft is also having a server, like a server called IIS. It is something like a web server. Okay. So now
Okay.
I'm able to, if I do a
Okay.
local host, or if I give my internal IP over here, no, it will work. Means HTTP, oops, HTTP : I think I will go with CMD. Okay. 10.0.0.5 is the IP. I can give either give 10.0.0.5. See, if I give local host or my IP address, I'm able to launch the application. Same thing, what we will do, right? We will disconnect it. Okay, I will just disconnect it. Now I will take the public IP. Okay, I will take my public IP, and if I put it over here, no, I won't get that. The site won't get loaded. Even though I have copied my public IP address, which is correct, I won't be able to load the site. Why? Any guesses?
So IIS dependency, you're saying?
No, no,
IIS.
no, no. Here,
Will not
no.
allow the port.
Yeah. The thing is, what we have done, right? In our security groups, right? We have selected only 3389 port. I told you, no. Any traffic which is coming inside, we have to enable that port. Okay. If you
Okay.
see, can you go on mute, please? Yeah. Can you go on mute? Yeah. So for that, like when we tried to launch that application, when we tried to open that website using the IP address or local host, it was able to access inside, because there is no security groups coming into picture, because we are accessing the application within that machine. But if you want to expose that outside, right, we have to add the security groups. Okay, so how we have to add? No, I will come back from first. Here I have to click on the networking left side on that particular Windows machine. Here I have done connect now. On the left side I am having something like networking. I have to click on networking. Here you will be having the rules. Okay, here I have to add a inbound port, source any, source port any, destination any. Here I will be selecting some TCP port. I will be putting some port called 80. Okay, the port range is 80 and it is a TCP port. Whether I want to allow or deny, I want to allow it. Okay, priority is like 310 and I will be giving something like port to 80. Okay, so here no this priority, right, there is something like priority. Okay, priority, whatever the lower value, first Azure will read that value and that policy will be taken into account. If I am having two rules with the same policy with priority number 310 and 320, Azure will consider only 310. If you see here priority, I'm having something like deny with 65,000. Here I'm putting something like 310, means this one will be ignored and whatever the lower value is there, right, that one will be taken into effect. Okay, so if you see the rules now, right, now you have 310, no? If you see deny all inbound means deny all traffic. Previously you are having this rule, means that's why you are unable to access anything. Previously this rule was applied and it is denying all the traffic, but I have added with the priority lower value 310, means allow this port. Now if you do a refresh, you should come. If it is not coming, then that Windows firewall is blocking. Port TCP any, destination any, allow. Port, this is correct only. We'll see. Hmm. Sometimes what happens, right, Windows firewall also will block. Sometimes this will also block. Okay, this firewall will also block. Okay, now I will do a refresh and check. Yeah, see, now it is coming. Why? Because this Windows firewall is blocking. Apart from our rules, whatever we have defined in Azure, there are some rules that are being defined in the operating systems. That firewall is blocking our traffic. Okay, if I turn on again, no firewall, it won't work. Okay, now it won't work. If I do a refresh, it won't work. Strange. Oh, strange. Even though it is, yeah, but fine. But when it started working is when I have disabled these firewalls. Okay, it started working. Any doubts? So this is how you can launch your website. Okay, now what we'll do, right, we'll go back to this. Okay, For today it is fine. Tomorrow I will take this lab on this availability sets. Actually, there is one concept called as auto scaling. So that can be done using this availability set. There is something like availability and scaling, no? So that can be done. Tomorrow we'll see that one. I prefer Linux
Okay.
machine for this. I don't want Windows machine. So I prefer Linux machine for this availabilities. And now we are having some 127 GB hard disks. Like this is like so it will show you the networking. Okay, networking stuff. Here, if you want to connect, it will show the like how you can connect. Okay, Bastin we can take it later. For Linux machines, you can log in via SSH, and if the Windows machine is also having SSH, right, you can log in. And this is admin center. Okay, this is the disks. So if you want to add one more disk, you can click on it and you can add the disk. Like if I want to add one more disk to the existing machine, so I will be adding 1 GB. Okay, so I will be selecting some standard SSD and I will be selecting only 1 GB. Okay, and I don't need any encryption. Okay, and
So whichever already running RD is there. So for that, we are just enhancing the storage type.
yeah, we are adding like C drive is there now, right? Now will be adding D drive.
D drive. Okay. No, here we'll add D drive only, right? No, C drive it will be in our systems.
These are all
Initially, we have created one of the RD, right? So that is for
yes.
C drive.
That is for C drive. Apart from
Okay.
that, you
Now
will
we
be
are
getting
whatever
some
we are.
temporary. Yeah.
Okay. Now we. Okay. Okay. This
We are
is
adding additional.
temporary folder
This is
like
the
D drive. Yeah.
one which I have added in
Main
prior
C drive. Okay.
28. Yeah. Now if I want to add
Okay.
additional
Okay.
disk, I can add using this one. This is the network attached disk.
Okay. Create attach a new disk. Okay. Attach existing disks. That one, Vikram. Next one, attached existing disks. That is.
Which one? One second.
There itself. One more.
No. If you
Create a
this will
attach new disk.
this
Attach
will
existing disk means.
this will come into picture. Let us assume like you have created one D drive disk and you have deleted the instance and you are creating a new
Okay.
instance. For that, if you want to attach the existing disk, then you can use this one. Okay.
Okay. Now D drive is we have created, and again some E or F drive we are creating, so that it will just attach. Or
Yes.
D drive got
Existing
deleted.
disk
And,
only. Existing disk only.
okay.
If you want to,
Okay.
there are two instances, right? You have C drive and D drive.
Hmm.
In D drive, you kept all your data,
Okay.
all your applications are installed in the D drive. Okay. C drive,
In D drive.
normally
Okay.
C and D, two partitions you will have. Okay. C drive and D drive, two
Hmm.
partitions you will
Hmm.
have. In C drive, right? If there is any
Hmm.
file corruption or any OS problem, C drive will be gone. Okay. During that time, right? What you will do, you will
Yep.
reinstall your operating system. Okay. During that
Okay.
time, all the data that is present in the C will be gone. If you want to overcome that case,
Hmm.
then you will
Hmm.
use the D drive for your installing your application. If you are installing some application instead of C drive, you will use D drive and you will store all
Hmm.
your
Hmm.
data in your D drive. Okay. Now,
Hmm.
by any chance your operating system is crashed and C drive is gone, what you can do, right?
Hmm.
You will spin a new machine.
Hmm.
Okay. Then
Hmm.
for
Hmm.
that particular machine, you can add existing disk
Hmm.
and you can select the existing D drive to that particular machine such that whenever
Hmm.
it boots you will be getting the older drive mapped.
Map data. But
Okay.
whichever we kept in C drive, that will be gone only. We can't
Yeah.
not able to grab it up. So
Yes.
that case, so most of
Root
the time
partition
we don't. Yeah, most of
in
the time we
Linux or
don't use this. Yeah, most of the time we don't use the C drive because
correct.
might be these are the cases. So in some cases, like C drive is unuseless thing like that. It will come, right, because we don't have any guarantee if the data lost we can't able to recover, and if we are using D, all the applications and moreover the things, so D can we can recover with the attached disks and all. So for C and all, it will be ideal, I think, if there's
In
no these
anything,
options.
right?
Yeah.
Even if it is Linux also, you want to
Mm,
use root partition. You want to deploy anything in your root partition.
okay.
You want to deploy anything in your root partition, you will create something like dev slash sdb something sdb1 something, and you will be having a different amount points for applications or backups. For everything you will be having a different amount to point.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, now what I will do, right, I will stop the machine. I have added the disk now. I will stop the machine and I have to start it again. Okay, all I will do a restart.
Can we also extend that C partition or D partition
You can extend, you can extend anything is possible.
while running the system, or
No,
we
no,
need to shut down first?
you should need to shut down. That is a maintenance activity. On the flight is not possible.
There is no activities to be performed while creating one more disk.
Yeah. So if you are upgrading some CPU or
Uh,
memory, disk, right, RAM, VM should be
mm,
rebooted.
okay.
For some, yeah. Now I'm starting it, and it didn't stopped only. The thing is, like, you will be having something like deallocated. Deallocated means the IP address will be released. Stopped state means IP address will be retained, as well as the data in your disk also will be retained, the temporary disk. Give me a second. It is not. It is running. It won't reflect as such. We have to do some settings in the Windows machine to create that one. Okay, so if you go and see, right, it won't be there. If you go to Windows Explorer, you want to find the D drive now. So what you have to do, right, you have to do some configuration. You have to go to device, you have to go to computer management. Here you will be having disk management. Okay, so I have to initialize it. whenever I opened, right, I'm getting like this disk needs to be initialized. So this is the disk 2. I'm clicking on OK. Okay. If you see here, no, the disk 2 is 4 GB. It is unallocated. Okay. Now I have to create a simple volume out of it. I'm clicking on, and this will be assigned to something like E drive, F drive, right? So I am selecting the E drive, clicking on next. If I want to create a, if I want to give a new name, no, then I can create next and finish. Okay. Now this new disk got created. We have to do some settings here. Then what will happen now? If I minimize, see my D drive has come. This is how you will be adding the disk. In Linux also you will be having different steps to be performed to make the disk available. So, okay, like this we can add the secondary disk.